Joanne, I was so shocked when I saw that footage. You know, I've got a son who's 16 now, but your little boy, your lovely little boy, almost overnight turned into that.
It was almost overnight. It was on the 13th of September last year, and it was out of the blue. He'd had a fever a few days before, a week before, and he just started hallucinating and screaming. It was horrid, wasn't it?
How would you describe him, Jez, before he got this infection? And
he was such a lovely little lad. He was always happy, always smart. Very loving little boy, very affectionate, and very, very bright.
So there was nothing like this kind of behaviour. He didn't have tantrums.
No.
So this was a big shock. How long did it take? Was it a gradual thing, or was it literally suddenly this happened?
In the March, he started to say things like, "Why am I here, Mummy? My brain's confused. I'm not sure I'm enjoying life." And it was quite deep for a 7-year-old at the time. And then by June, he wasn't eating the things he would normally eat.
And he didn't like being around other people eating, did he?
No, he developed a button phobia. He'd had this phobia before. It wasn't a phobia, it was more of a dislike of buttons that we wear. And he then just couldn't even be in the same room as somebody with buttons. And he certainly couldn't eat when buttons were
How did you deal with him when he was behaving like that? Because that looks very difficult to
We
handle.
tried several things. We, try what a normal parent would do, was sort of like try to tell him off and shout at him and
try and
discipline him. But he was so strong when he got...
He's literally trashing the house.
Yeah.
Well, as you say, it's like something from The Exorcist.
It was. There were times when he was actually crawling around on the floor on his hands and legs, and he would just jump onto a sofa and he'd just be...
Did he ever physically attack either of you?
Yeah, many a times.
Well, this is awful. This is truly awful. We bring the doctor in at this stage. The good news is we were talking downstairs and you said to me, look, this is treatable. First of all, how may he have contracted this and what is it?
And what is it?
Good question. So what William was exhibiting was something called PANS. Now, it's a very long word. It stands for paediatric autoimmune neuropsychiatric syndrome. And probably the best way to describe it is to give you a subdivision of it, which is called pandas. So pandas is not the white and black furry animal that we normally relate to, but this is a disease which is a paediatric autoimmune neuropsychiatric disorder associated with strep, OK? And essentially, putting it in very simple terms, a child may get a strep infection, like a sore throat or tonsillitis. The body does what it's supposed to do, and it raises antibodies against the streptococcus, and those antibodies then attack the brain and cause inflammation of the brain. And it's a particular part of the brain that the antibodies stimulate, and that stimulation results in tics, so abnormal movements, and those could be eye blinking, it could be jerking of the head or neck. Those are the commonest parts of the body that are affected. And obsessive-compulsive behaviours. And also
like the buttons,
like the buttons, yeah, exactly. And sometimes we get phenomena where they have a food aversion and problems with water, with going to the toilet as well.
We'll come back to you in a moment about diagnosing and there is a cure. You obviously went to the doctor.
Yes.
What did they make of it at that point?
Well, first of all, there was this query over whether he had autism or not, and we were just being told by the professionals that was a possibility, so we learned a bit about that. And when the rages started and the things were being destroyed, we heard that it could be pathological demand avoidance. So we looked into that, and I got some information. We were sent on a parenting course, because that really helped. Yeah. It was really interesting.
Guys, we've only got a minute left before we have to cut out of the programme. Doctor, basically, what is the prognosis?
It's very good if you get treatment quickly. And treatment can be very simple. It can be something as straightforward as antibiotics. There are other treatments that sometimes we need to give, but there are 4 main arms of treatment very quickly. Antibiotics, anti-inflammatories, make sure they get good psychiatric support and try and maintain their education.
And early diagnosis.
And early diagnosis.
Yeah.
Joanne feels that William contracted this from mould in a previous house that you had let. That is possible, though, isn't it?
So if we go on the basis that this is an immune system disorder, then anything that stimulates the immune system may make things worse. So it does make sense.
Well, I saw him downstairs with his sister, and a lovely, lovely child. Are you seeing improvements, big improvements?
Yeah, over the summer it's been good. No bugs.
Good. Well, thank you for talking about it. And raising
you.
awareness is the
Yeah,
thing.
that's the main thing.
Early diagnosis is
Yes.
key. Thank
A
you,
rare
Joanne.
neuropsychiatric condition, and doctors need to be able to identify it more. Just about 10% of doctors could actually identify it.